Welcome, moms. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm your host, Monica Samuels, and I'm here with my lovely co-host and very good friend, Julie Orchid.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Julie. I am so glad. You look gorgeous.
We sound so sarcastic. We're like, hi.
No, you look really. I'm not sounding surprised. You look great.
I know. Sometimes I shower. I do my hair.
I didn't see you till you sat
usually
down
have
there.
a baseball hat on. That's how I rolled into town yesterday.
Well, you had a great hat that I'm jealous of. I want it.
Oh, it's Texas is for lovers. Yeah. But as my, the bonus of coming to LA is I get to see my oldest daughter. Last night she rolled in and she's like, it's Virginia is for lovers. I was like, not today.
No, it's Texas.
Yeah. So we got that hat at Austin City Limits. Yeah. It's pretty fantastic.
I'm jealous you got to go to that. I didn't go this year.
Oh, well, there's always next year.
But you and I are going to go to Mumford & Sons.
We are.
Concert together.
Absolutely. I am super
Just
stoked.
Wait.
That's going to be so
love
fun.
Watching me dance and, having a big time.
I'm celebrating.
Yeah.
You want to know what I'm celebrating?
Celebrate. I'm excited here. Share with our audience because... Well, tell them the story and then tell them the great news.
Well, I don't need to tell a long story, but I will be celebrating. This has to do with our guest today as well. I'm celebrating a clean mammogram 6 months after being diagnosed with breast cancer. So
we're very thrilled. I'm so excited for you.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a weird feeling too, though, because you have a little bit of survivor's guilt when you go through something and then things are working out for you. I mean, you can't help it when you walk in and you see a lot of people that are very, very sick. Your perspective changes. I have a lot of friends who've been through it and supported me. And, I'm super excited that today we get to talk about a little bit of that because the last 8 months have been totally different than what I had planned. And it's, it's awkward. It's just a little bit weird, but I'm super thrilled to promote good health.
I am too. I think this is a great subject and guest. And so without further ado, I want to introduce her.
Oh, you are? All right, let's go.
She began her career in public relations, but later joined her husband, a cancer survivor, in the creation of Survivor Fitness Foundation, which focuses on the positive effects of health and wellness for cancer survivors. Please welcome Meg Grunke. Welcome to the Moms Club.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so thrilled that you're here, and this is such a great thing that you're doing. My father-in-law worked at MD Anderson as a radiologist for years, so I saw, and my mother is a cancer survivor of a very, very rare form of cancer, and so I got to see that side of it, but there's another side to it, and that is when you're like Julie and you've gotten a good
you didn't get a lot of questions about the treatment, what happens afterwards, like how are we moving on, how are we going to do life after you feel so the gate you got to race and get healthy, and then you don't really hear much about afterwards. What are you going to do to keep that up?
Exactly. And so your husband Aaron is a cancer survivor. From what I understand, he had testicular cancer when he was 23, and without a couple of years, we were told surgeries, treatment, but then he got to the other side of it, and then explained to us what happened and what inspired him to start Survivor Fitness Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Julia, I do want to say congratulations on a clean bill of health. I know that that's a lot, this anxiety that comes around those regular checkups. And even though your doctors tell you that everything will be fine, that doesn't make those appointments much easier oftentimes. So I'm so glad to hear that. And so glad you're hopefully on the other side of things. So,
I'm so too.
But yeah, so my husband Aaron was diagnosed with an aggressive form of testicular cancer at the young age of 21. Went through about 2 years of treatments and surgeries. And when he was done with treatment around the age of 23, he was told, you're healthy now, go live life, you're fine, just put cancer in the rearview mirror. And he had gained a lot of weight, lost a lot of strength, and really struggled mentally and emotionally with what came next. And when his doctors were saying, go live life, move forward, he kind of stopped and said, what does that mean? I have no idea what that means. And really struggled with what that looked like for him, especially as a young adult, especially as someone who thought, hey, I should be able to figure this out on my own. But unfortunately, he couldn't. And he really struggled with that for a few years. And luckily, by kind of happenstance, he was speaking with a trainer one day about what he had been through and what he was struggling with. And that trainer kind of took it upon himself to help Aaron figure out what life after cancer should look like, both physically, nutritionally, and really that led into the mental and emotional part as well. So he was kind of given the tools to regain his health, and that's where the idea was, where Survivor Fitness was born. Aaron had struggled for a number of years with really what to do. And when he started kind of putting these pieces together and talking to other, his doctor about it and some other cancer survivors that he knew, everybody shared the same sentiment of, yeah, I struggled with that too. I had no idea what to do. No one told me what to do. How was I supposed to move forward? I felt had brain fog. How do I address all these things? And while they might have heard go work out or, eat healthy, they weren't really sure what to do or how to do that. And so that's where the idea for Survivor Fitness was born. And so we started that a number of years ago at this point to help cancer survivors of all adult age ranges, all fitness levels, and all types of cancer regain their health and wellness following treatment.
How old was he when he got the idea? I think because it's a pretty bold thing to say, I'm going to start a foundation.
Yeah.
And that's impressive.
Yeah.
How old was he?
He was about 25 when he came home one day and said, we had talked about it. And he's about 25. And then fast forward a couple years, he kind of molds on the idea a little bit. And he was getting his MBA, had the opportunity to do an independent study class and wrote up a business plan on this and talked to some trainers in the area. We were in Nashville at the time and talked to some trainers, and they said, this is a great idea. Talk to the physicians. This is a great idea. No one's doing this. So he came home one day and said, I filed the paperwork. And I was like, for what? So
Wow. Yeah.
That's where it started. And I was like, oh, okay, we're really doing this. But it has been such a obviously great idea that he had. And, we're just really fortunate to see so many lives impacted through such the, simple actions of fitness and nutrition and mental wellness support.
So if you have a survivor and somebody comes to your foundation and they want to sign up, what does that look like? How long is it? People would probably have questions, how do I get on my feet again? Give me an idea of what that looks like.
Yeah, so our program, so as I mentioned, we have the fitness, nutrition, and mental wellness program. Those can all be done in conjunction or independently of each other, given the fact that a lot of cancer survivors, when they're done with treatment, are really starting to kind of try and get back in the swing of things. And so we certainly don't want to make these programs more burdensome than they should be helpful, if you will. And so for the fitness program, it's 24 sessions, one-on-one with a personal trainer over the course, ideally, of 12 weeks. So that's 2 sessions per week. Everything is one-on-one with that trainer. And that trainer really customizes your fitness program to you. So we've had 18-year-olds come through the program and we've had 88-year-olds come through the program. And so clearly they don't need the same thing when it comes to recovery. And so that's where that customization and individualized support comes in. And really working with people on their needs. And then on the nutrition side, our participants receive 3 to 5 sessions with a dietitian. And typically that is done with the fitness because obviously those go well hand in hand. And then for mental wellness support, our participants receive up to 3 months of weekly therapy, meaning that they can go every week for 3 months. They can go every other week for 3 months. We really let them, the participant and their therapist, decide that together and really make the best protocol for them at that point. So when someone comes into the program, we have an intake process that we go through, and between our program coordinator and that individual decide the best course of action for them. And I should also mention that all these programs that we do provide, we're fortunate to have great support of the community and the communities we work with, numbers of businesses, local businesses, as well as businesses across the nation who support Survivor Fitness to make these programs available at no cost to anyone who comes through.
Wow.
And do doctors make referrals to you all, or how does that usually happen? because we want the whole country. The reason you're on here today is we want the whole country to find out about Survivor Fitness Foundation. Not a lot of people know about it, and it was really based in Tennessee for the most part. Now it's virtual. You can get it anywhere, from what I understand. So, what's the typical way that you're identified? You have oncologists that you work with generally at this point, and they refer, or how does that happen?
So, yeah, as you mentioned, our program, so we do have in-person locations that we work with fitness-wise throughout the state of Tennessee, which is where we started and where we reside now. But we also provide virtual programming to anyone across the country, and that is actually our largest growing market, if you will. Survivor Fitness is a unique program and the fact of kind of what we do with the individualized support. So we have physicians, oncologists, surgical centers, nurses who refer their patients to our program all across the country. And we've been fortunate to grow in that aspect. But it's important to note that you do not have to have a doctor's referral to apply to be part of Survivor Fitness. So anyone can hop on our website at survivorfitness.org, apply for the program. It's a quick application, just asking kind of what you've been through, where you are now, where you've been. Probably, 5 to 7 minutes of an application, and then we set up the intake process from there. We always circle back and get medical clearance forms from the physicians or the surgeons, just really, again, dependent on the individual. But no, anyone can come to our website and apply for these programs. And yes, we do want everyone to apply. We have the ability to support numbers more than we are at this moment. I mean, we're very fortunate. We've been growing and growing, but the thought of any cancer survivor sitting at home alone and wondering, what do I do? Like, how do I move forward? That's hard, and that's kind of devastating, and why we want to work so hard to make sure that people know about the programs that we provide.
I mean, first of all, your website is an incredible resource. I can tell you that, I have taken the deep dive on it, and it has so much information. You are providing survivor stories on there and what's happened with, some of the people who have applied. And I can just personally tell you that I'm not really great at asking for help. I was like to my daughter, just roll me in the door. I'll be fine the next day, and get going. But, there's so much that you go through. Like I told you, the plastic surgeon people called me. They're like, we'll give you a ride. And I was like, what? You're not even thinking like that. And then the mental part of it is depending on what you have. And I'm just going to say this because a lot of people go through it. Your body completely changes, and I'm only speaking about my own breast cancer diagnosis, and it's mentally really something that you need to process, and the mental part of this Survivor Fitness I think is huge.
I would absolutely agree, because I know with my mom, she had a form of cancer. It was called epithelioid hemangiolitheoma. It's the cancer of inner lining of the blood vessels, and they only diagnose it 500 cases in the world every year. Most people die within 3 years. She survived.
That's right.
Hers went away by itself. She became a case study at MD Anderson. It was a whole big thing. But I know mentally, and she's now 87. She was diagnosed when she was 56. It's hard once you've had something like that that's so rare and so always fatal. I think it's hard to get past that point mentally and emotionally.
Well, having to tell your parents,
there's a lot of
or your kids.
PTSD that goes along. Well, for her, every year, okay, is this coming back? She had to keep going back and back to be tested over and over again. Lots of CAT scans. It took forever for the doctors to finally say, you are in remission and you don't have to come back. So I'm glad to hear that you added that mental health piece, because that was a lot on her. We know that. It was a lot on us as a family, too. Which reminds me, too, do you add the family into this process, too? Because families go through a lot as well. Is there resources that help them?
We do not. There's a couple of different organizations who are providing family support specifically for children, as well, that they can kind of different coping mechanisms that they can really tap into if their parent is diagnosed. So we do not at this point. What we do love to see, though, is when, mom or dad starts working out, maybe for the first time or ever, that these kids, what dependent on their age, right, or coming along with them and working out alongside of them once they get to the point that they can do so. Or maybe they sign up for a 5K together, or they do something that they've never done before. I mean, we see a lot of parents who, they can't even play basketball with their kids. They can't, run down the soccer field with their kids because of potentially what they've been through, or the concerns around potential, some of the surgeries or treatments, or maybe they get more winded more easily. There's so much there that really having someone walk beside you and help you understand, like, it's okay. Like, you're not the only one who's had this issue, right? And I think a lot of time cancer survivors feel that way. I'm not a cancer survivor myself, so I can't say that I felt that way, but all the participants who we speak to often say, like, I'm sure I'm the only one who's gained weight. And we step back and say, actually, no, like, a lot of our participants gained weight because of the medications that they've been on, because of the steroids, or dependent on, just all sorts of things, particularly a lot of breast cancer survivors looking at really what that proper balance is between nutrition and fitness as they come out. And, I'm not a physician, but I can speak to what I've seen and the research that I've read. And it really is such an important factor for people to know that, like, they're not alone, right? That they are not the only person sitting there wondering, how do I do this? Like, that my doctor says I should work out, but, like, I've never been to a gym before. Where do I even start? Or my doctor says I should work out. Like, I used to be able to pick up 25 pounds and now I can barely pick up, like, the can to open it and, make myself a can of soup. And so it's really hard either way. I mean, we see people struggle with this all the time of what to do and how to do it. And then you think adding your family into that, or adding the workplace into it, depending on what you do for a living. And it really just compiles for these individuals to try and figure it out. And instead of being able to move forward, they just sit stagnant because they don't even know where to start. And that's what we really want to help people do, is come alongside them and show them, like, it's just one foot in front of the other, and having someone walk beside you and really show you that direction is critical in changing really that trajectory of your health and your wellness.
So correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying Survivor Fitness is kind of a one-on-one, which I think is important because, like, you get a good diagnosis after a good, getting out there again. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to say that, if you get a clean bill of health, good Lord, that's another whole show, brain fog. My gosh. Yeah, I was like, what just happened there? But anyway, I just had a stroke. Yeah.
If we remember, we will have it. We will do a show on that. Okay,
no, what I'm saying is a clean bill of health. You feel like, oh, okay, even though I'm 54, maybe I should act like I'm 18 and get out there. And I think people are intimidated and to get back out and start working out again. So is it one-on-one?
Everything that we do initially is one-on-one. We do have group workout classes and group fitness classes that once people start in the program, when the trainers do an assessment and really get that baseline for where they are and they start working out one-on-one, they can funnel in and do these group workout classes virtually. We have them virtually twice a week, that they can tap into for kind of like a third workout each week, and then continue on after their 24 sessions with that trainer is up. And then same thing on the nutrition side, because people don't, you could take, Julie, what you've been through, and then take someone who's been through the exact same situation, and your bodies don't respond the same. And so for us, we think about it as, there's no one size fits all when it comes to a cancer diagnosis, and that includes during treatment and after treatment. And that's why it's so critical to take somebody and say, okay, where were you before? What were you doing before? What gets you excited when working out? What challenges do you face? And really, what are your personal goals? Because, nothing against group classes. I think that group classes are great and have their place. Sure. And I think there's so much great community that comes along in group classes. But I think that it's important that people have the opportunity to figure out what really works for them, and having a trainer come alongside of them and saying, like, okay, let's fix that aspect. Because like you said, if you're 54 and you're working out besides an 18-year-old, but you might try and prove something, and then all of a sudden you're out for a week and a half because you tried to prove something you weren't quite ready to prove. And that, and that's that stinks. And that's not where we want people to end up when they're trying to move forward, is moving backwards
Listen,
instead.
I'm a big fan of this post-treatment
So yes, all of the
thing.
programs are individual.
Yeah. So as far as the virtual part, so it's on Zoom if you're doing it virtually, and like I have one of those mirror things, and there's an option of them seeing you, and I don't ever want that because I'm like, I don't want them to see me. But this case, you want the trainer. It's like you have a real trainer right in front of you, but you don't have a gym at your house. I'm like, what equipment do you use? How do people navigate that part of it?
Yeah. So strength and resistance training is so important for cancer survivors and really anyone in general when it comes to health and fitness. And so what we do is we provide up to 3 pieces of equipment for every one of our virtual participants, and we send that directly to their home. And so that might be a pair of bands, a stability ball. We typically use things that can kind of adjust in weight as people progress, or resistance rather, so that we can kind of progress them along as well. And our virtual trainers are fantastic. We have a pocket full of individuals who do only our virtual training. And I think that that's worth noting too. So we have affiliate trainers and dietitians, as well as mental health therapists, that we kind of think of as just an extension of our Survivor Fitness family. And so we have some wonderful, wonderful virtual trainers who love to have this type of communication, who love to get on, and they're good at filling that, awkward moments, if you will, as you're sitting there doing your exercises and they're watching you. They'll turn the music on, and personal training is personal. So our trainers get to know you during that time. And we really work also to make sure that it's a good fit, not just from what they know and what you've been through, but also personality wise, because you're going to be sitting there with them for 45 minutes to an hour twice a week.
Oh yeah.
You want to get along with them, and you're going to share things with them. And so, yeah, we have people who love this virtual programming, and it's just as beneficial as the in-person. Of course, you don't get all the equipment that you might get in person, but there's still so much that you can do from your home. And a lot of us have more equipment and tools around the house that we might not realize that we have, like stairs and things like that we can utilize during a workout.
Oh, yeah.
And so our trainers are really great at tapping into that, in addition to the equipment that we send.
Oh, yeah. Well, like my aunt, she's 86 now, and she's really into chair yoga.
Yeah.
Like just using a chair.
And you think about like 86, and this is where we're really big on whether you're 18 or 88, right? Whether you've, no matter what you've been through, because at 86, you gotta, there's so many things that involve squats, if you will.
Right.
And nobody at 86, if you're like, can you do any squats? Like, no, I can't do any squats, but they do squats every day. If they're still driving, they're getting out of the car. If they're getting in and off of their chair, all sorts of things that you do all throughout the day use different muscles. And so at that point, a lot of it is functional fitness, but, bone health and really learning how to exercise your body at different ages can really be pivotal to living a full and healthy life. Because listen, if you've beat cancer, no matter how old you are, you want to live, and you want to be able to go see your grandchildren, or go on a walk around the neighborhood, or whatever that might look like for you, to bring you joy. And so it's really important to, if chair yoga is, people love chair yoga, and people love all sorts of different things for every activity level. And I love that an 86-year-old is doing chair yoga, because
we should do it in our hotel room.
Actually, we do need to do that.
Meg, you have kids, so I want to know, what do your kids know about Survivor Fitness? What do they say about it?
Yeah.
What do they know about, your husband? I mean, do they speak about it? I mean, they obviously weren't around when he was diagnosed, but how does this fit into your family?
Yeah, and you all are inspiring on so many levels in terms of making this happen. So yeah, what do they know about it and think about it?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, we have almost 9-year-old twins, a girl and a boy. They'll be 9. They're Christmas babies. So they'll be 9 on December 23rd. But, it's been interesting to kind of bring them into our sphere of Survivor Fitness, if you will. They asked why they couldn't be on the interview tonight. So they're very sad not to be part of this. But if Aaron's cancer diagnosis first came up when we were actually had Sports Center on one morning, and they were sharing a story about a football player's parent who was diagnosed. And so our kids started asking, what is cancer? Who has cancer? All these questions. And they were only 4 years old. And so at that point, and our son is very curious, and he said, well, have you all had cancer? And so we kind of just jumped into the conversation. He's 4. He only understood so much at that point. And so it was very high level. Yes, your dad had cancer. He is fine. He has been fine for a long time now. And then so that kind of edged into them learning a bit more about what we do. So I work full time for the organization. Aaron serves on our board of directors, so he has a separate job. So it's kind of tying the two together. But I do work from home, and so they get to see a lot of survivor fitness and what we do. And so they know we help cancer survivors, and they've come to. We have some events that we do throughout the year, all over the place, especially in regards to fitness. And we do some dinners, and they don't get to come to those, but the fitness events that are a little more family friendly, they get to come to those, and it's fun for them to see things on a bigger level. So when they ask what mommy does for work, they say that we help cancer survivors, and so they come to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that is great. Do you have I know you don't have a favorite survivor per se, but do you have a story that you want to share? I mean, like what's an example of this? This is a big success story that I want to share with you and inspire you. If you're a cancer survivor and you're interested in this will give you some great hope that this is exactly where you need to be.
Yeah. As you said, I don't have one favorite story. I do have one that I'll tell you in a second. But before I tell you like an extreme story, I think it's so important for people to, as Julie, you're saying, like, it doesn't matter if you've had a surgery or, I say this in full quotation marks, is some people deal with that survivor guilt, but you still oftentimes deal with a lot of the mental and emotional and physical aspects as well. Yeah. And so, honestly, seeing people being able to do activities that they love, that they thought they'd never be able to do again, brings so much joy to my day. When I get an email that says, like, I never thought I would be able to, coach my kids soccer again, and I'm able to not only to do that, but I'm able to do so much more. We had one lady who was doing like kind of a couch to 5K program, her teenage son said, you know what, I'm going to do this with you, Mom, and came alongside her, and they did it together. And so I love those. But one particular story that is, if I had to pick favorite, this would be my favorite. A woman named Carol. She was diagnosed with a form of sarcoma and was had her right thigh muscle removed, the majority of her right thigh muscle. And so she really struggled with her balance. She really struggled with all sorts of things. And her fall risk was very high. And so that meant that when she fell, getting up was not just like you and I get up off the floor. It was she had to have this very strategic manner of like crawling over to an object and getting to a solid object and pulling herself up. Now, if she fell and she wouldn't let anybody pick her up because it was painful. Her husband and one of her sons were the only people that really knew the proper way to help her get up. And she really struggled with this. Her husband had to take a leave of absence and disability from work because she wasn't able to be left at home, because if she fell, she could potentially hit her head. And unfortunately that happened. At one point she hit her head, had a concussion, broke some ribs, and just kind of things were not looking great. And we had already been in contact with her at that point. And her doctor, her physician, her oncologist, she had met with them and said, when we get to a certain point, I'm going to tell you to sign up for Survivor Fitness because I really think it would be helpful. And so we had spoken, and then she had this fall. So we had to wait a bit longer. And in the interim, she went to physical therapy. And I have great friends who are physical therapists. I love physical therapists. But unfortunately, her physical therapist did not really serve her in the best manner as far as helping her overcome what she had gone through. And that's not always oftentimes like, this is the issue, this is what they need to work on. And so that's what they did. And unfortunately, at the end of their sessions and their time together, she still couldn't get up off the ground. It was, this is just the way your life is going to be.
Wow.
And I'm so sorry, but this is just how it is. Went back to her oncologist, and our oncologist said, remember how I told you about Survivor Fitness? I need you to go back and sign up for this program. So Carol came back to us, and we talked through a lot of things. And one of the things that when I was talking with her trainer that we were going to set her up with, trainer said to me, we're going to work on all the things that she does have, not the things she doesn't have. And boy, did they do that. It was 6 weeks into it, but they worked, and Carol really just dug in and gave her all, was so committed to herself, right? To herself and to her family, and she had a new grandchild, and she was just very committed to saying, like, I am not going to live my life like this.
Right.
I'm going to make this happen. And about 6 weeks in, I get this phone call, and it's her trainer and Carol screaming, and she's like, I did it.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? And she's like, I got up off the ground by myself. And I was like, tears of joy, and something that we take for granted, like going one day from being able to get up and off the floor to the next day, just being, or maybe not the next day, but almost not being able to do so. And Carol has, before that, had about a year before her diagnosis, tragically lost her son by an impaired driver in a terrible car accident. And so she had not only dealt with that, but then kind of almost straight into, she was still recovering and mentally and emotionally dealing with that incident when she had her cancer diagnosis. And one of her goals was to hike Mount Kilimanjaro, not just for herself, but for her son. And she did that 2 years ago. And I know. And so she went from not being able to get up and off the floor to hiking Mount Kilimanjaro. She's, I think at this point now, she's 57, 58. Maybe a bit older. I can't remember her exact age at this point, but she is such just a testament to the joy and the empowerment that can come from something so simple as someone saying to you, we're not going to focus on the can'ts. We're going to focus on the cans. And we're going to make this happen together. And I'm going to hold your hand every step of the way until it's time to let you go. And that's what they did. So that is
I love it. I can see why. I can honestly say, I don't think I could hike Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't even know if I could make it hike over to Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't even know. That's not even going to happen. So that's an impressive, awesome story. Well, Meg, if you, everybody, I think, needs a spa experience, don't you?
Well, Survivor Fitness, they could add spa services to their,
that would be awesome. So, yes. And so,
she may have a favorite.
She may, yes. Well, she's about to have a favorite because we have a new sponsor that we're so excited about. Right. Woodloch Resorts.
Oh, yes.
And they were named the #1 best all-inclusive resort in the U.S. for 2025, and they are now sponsors of our Zoomer Moms.
Yes.
And we would now like to welcome into the show our Zoomer Moms. Welcome, Zoomer Moms. Welcome to the Moms Club. Hello, ladies. Well, I'm going to introduce each one of you, and I want you to tell your name, where you're from, a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question for Meg? Kathy, welcome to the Moms Club.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Monica. I really appreciate it. Wiping back happy tears because what an inspirational show this is. I'm Kathy Ward. I'm from Plano, Texas. My daughter just turned 26. My son's about to turn 22. Oh, where does the time go?
Right.
I'm a former special education teacher and have also been elected to a couple of offices. Currently serve on a commission for the governor here in the state of Texas. My goodness, my mom's a cancer survivor. Unfortunately, my mom passed away a few years ago, and I miss her dearly, but it was not from cancer. And one of the reasons and she had her cancer diagnosis, my goodness, 35 plus years ago, almost 40 years ago now. And she found a nutritionist in a little shopping strip in Richardson, Texas, and learned so much about supplements. She was a physical therapist, so she knew physically what to do with herself and what not to do with herself with her breast cancer diagnosis. And we feel like we had my mom for all of those decades because she chose to take care of herself with all of the things out there. My mom was very open and willing to learn about that. We feel like that helped keep the cancer away. She never had cancer again after she had that original diagnosis. But her body did go through a lot of changes with chemo and radiation. She ended up having allergies she had never had, and just a lot of things she had to work through. And I think of what a gift an organization like yours and your husband's would have been for her, but that was back before the internet days. My question to you, Meg, is, okay, we've all just learned about your fantastic organization and what you can do. If I'm trying to explain this to a friend who maybe is saying, no, nothing's going to work. I don't want to hear about anything. I'm just going to do exactly what my doctor says and that's it. What would be the appropriate way for somebody like me to introduce your organization
That's a good question.
to a friend or a family member?
Good question.
Yeah. That is a great question. That's a great question. People kind of come at their own speeds, if you will. I think a lot of times when it comes to a cancer diagnosis, there are people who get the diagnosis and they apply to Survivor Fitness that day, right? They're like, I'm going to get through with this. And whenever I'm done with all the things, I'm starting Survivor Fitness. And then there are people that come to us 2 to 3 years later, right? Because after they've gotten it, because they, want to do it on their own, kind of might start and then kind of might fall off, right? So, if they're on social media, I tell people to tell them to follow us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram, because they'll get to see different participants, really the myriad of individuals that we work with. And they might identify with one of those people. We've got stories like Carol's on our YouTube channel who kind of talk about different people talking about what they've been through, and people who struggled with what to do after, and people who again thought that they could handle it. Or I just think for everybody it's so individualized, and like you said, some people aren't ready to hop right in or think that they can do it on their own. And you know what? Some people do, and they have great success on their own because they know what to do. But we don't put a time cap, a long time cap, if you will, a short time cap on when people can apply after they're receive kind of the all clear. They're done with their surgeries and their treatments. If someone's on a maintenance medication, they can apply, or we can talk to them, have them reach out, survivorfitness.org, email me. And I'm happy to talk to those people, because I think that some people just need kind of like to dip their toes in the water, maybe sign up for our newsletter, just kind of learn a little bit more about what we do. And hopefully they'll apply to the program, or the programs when they're ready. And typically I feel like that's the best way.
Yeah, that sounds good. Susan, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and do you have a question for Meg?
Thank you very much for having me, Meg. You're awesome. I'm so encouraged and so enlightened by your presentation. My name is Susan Dakak. I'm originally from Baghdad, Iraq. I moved to this country in 1978 and became a naturalized citizen in 1985 on Flag Day. I earned my engineering degree in 1983, and I've been working in the source system and the rehabilitation of pipeline trenchless technologies ever since. My question, my mom and I are cancer survivors, and my question to you is, do you see any kind of statistics that shows people from that part of the world have more of certain type of cancer than others? If you don't know the answer, it's okay. That's not, that's not what you've been talking about. But I just want to know, because I hear a lot of people from that part of the world having a certain type of cancer that other people here in the United States do not have.
I do not know the answer to that question. I'm not familiar with those statistics and haven't dug into that area yet. So I'm sorry I can't answer that.
Okay. That's all right. I was just wondering because I think that something in the digestive system, I see more of people in the Middle East, from the Middle East, than here in the United States, and because here, I think the top of life in here, the people pay attention to drinking water and doing all kinds of things. Over there, it's very, very limited. When I remember when we go out, when we go to the stores and whatever, we make sure we don't drink water that day because there aren't any good bathrooms anywhere. So we really overstress our digestive system, and that's why I was asking if you knew anything about that.
No, but I mean, I think that it's interesting, really, all the statistics that are coming out, even in the United States, about things that are going on in the diagnosis ages of certain types of cancers changing. And I think it's important for everyone to really kind of dig into whether it be where you're from in the area, and kind of what your health history is with your family, so that you can understand really how that might impact you.
Yeah, it's great to learn how to get on the other side, cure cancer, but preventing cancer and understanding a lot more about it. Interesting that you brought that up, Susan, because when my mother grew up in Appalachia in Kentucky, and when she got her cancer, which was so rare, the doctor said, is this hereditary? And he said, no, we think it's environmental.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. It's good to know. Let's hope that we get to a place where we don't have cancer. That would be
huge.
Awesome. So prevention.
I always say, if we can get put out of business, that would be the best. That would be the biggest one we can have, right?
That would be great.
No survivor need our program. So
exactly. Yeah. Deb, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and do you have a question for Meg?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about this topic. Unfortunately, I am a survivor as well. Mm-hmm. My name is Deb Miles. I'm from Austin, Texas, originally a Midwest transplant. I have 2 kids. I'm a recent empty nester. And this program is fabulous. I'm wondering how you're scaling it, because I could literally right now tell 5 friends, unfortunately, but this program is fantastic. I think I've been through a lot of this, and I think you guys have so many of the right components, and I'm just wondering how you're going to scale, because the virtual and/or multiple locations and all of this stuff, how you're going to do that. And if you want to talk a little bit about your fundraising, so that if people watch this, we can, help the organization.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So virtual right now, yes, is the way we scale. For right now, we, if any trainers are out there, people interested, our trainers get their cancer exercise specialist certification so that they have a more in-depth understanding. And we often have people who reach out. And so that's how we've been able to scale virtually. And we're looking at kind of what city is next. And really tying in a bit more into the health systems as we do that a bit more strategically, to be quite frank. We work very well with the health systems in the cities where we physically are located now. And then we have great partnerships with different health systems outside of the state of Tennessee as well, people referring individuals to the program. We are a nonprofit. We are a 501c3. We put through everyone who applies to our program at no cost to them. But through different corporations, grant funding, individual donors, we're fortunate to be able to continue providing these programs. And so we're so grateful to do that. We've had some different companies come along. There's Noble, who is a fitness brand. During the month of October, they ran a campaign for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and used part of the sales that they had to contribute to Survivor Fitness. So I am always open to fundraising. I will never turn that away, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
That's really how we're looking at scaling. Because again, our goal is to make sure that every cancer survivor has the support that they need, right? And that no one's sitting at home alone wondering what's next. So we're kind of looking at strategically how to do that, and to do it in the best way possible to serve the
Well,
most people.
we absolutely love this, Meg, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, tell us if you're interested, if you're a cancer survivor and you're interested in the program,
Yeah.
or if you want to get involved and help, as you said, fund or support this, where can we find you?
So survivorfitness.org is our website. And then we are Survivor Fitness Foundation on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and YouTube as well. So Survivor Fitness Foundation. And as Julie said, whether you're a cancer survivor or not, we do have a lot of resources on our website. So we've got recipes, we've got participant stories, we have different health and wellness topics in our blog. If you follow us on social media, we host wellness workshops once a month, and they're free to people anywhere and everywhere. So whether you're a cancer survivor or not, if the topic's applicable to you, register for it, sign up. And Kathy, that's a good way for people to dip their toes in as well, is just sign up for these free resources that are out there, because, people are moving their body and starting to take back control of their health and their life. It's such a powerful tool, and anything that we can do to help with that, we would love to.
I love it. I mean,
your empathy is off the charts. We cannot thank you enough for coming today.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Now, Julie, if you decide to do it virtually, I wouldn't mind taking an exercise class with you, just so you know.
We've been partners in exercise before.
Yes.
Apparently, Meg's telling us you have to do it 90 days before it becomes a habit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a commitment with you.
Absolutely.
Because heaven knows I need to be in better shape.
I will be looking
myself.
into it for
we can have a trainer, come in and do some exercise, work with you both, right?
That would be great.
They can figure out what works best for both your bodies and your personalities as you're working together for that.
That would help both of us. Well, thank you again so much. And
we want to thank
for having me. Thank you. And we want to thank our sponsors. We want to give special thanks to our Zoomers Mom sponsor, Woodloch Resort, for helping make this episode possible. With 67 years of heartfelt hospitality and 3 amazing properties, including one of the top destination spas and family resorts in the U.S., Woodloch is truly where tradition meets tranquility. So discover the perfect getaway, ladies, at woodloch.com. And you know what makes the perfect resort stay even better, Julie?
Tell me, because
New Calms.
Oh, yes.
New Calm.
Yes.
Spelled Nucalm. It's the #1 stress release and sleep app, although it's also great for focus, because the other day I had to read a book really quickly to interview someone, and I put on
you
the
didn't
focus.
listen to it?
No, not like you.
Okay, not
No,
like
I
me.
read it.
Yeah.
I did the old-fashioned way, but I listened to the app, and it really made a difference. It's a great app. Again, it's spelled Nucalm, Nucalm. You can find it in the App Store. Check it out, and if you sign up, put Mom's Club in the code at checkout, you get 15% off every month of your subscription.
I love a discount.
Yes, it's great. Well, check us out on our website, InsideTheMomsClub.com, or we're everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can see clips from the show. You can see me make a complete fool of myself. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Check us out, Inside the Moms Club. I can't believe this has been a really informative, wonderful show. I can't believe it's already over, Julie. It goes by so fast. But what is our motto, which I think is so important, particularly on a show like today? What is our motto? Our motto is, if you don't laugh sometimes,
you are going to cry.
Right. So keep laughing out
That's
there,
right,
moms.
ladies.
We will see you next time inside the Moms Club.